Hi everybody, Wes Beaton here, being joined by Mark Jones again, bringing you the Regulator Systems 2015 Queensland Sportscar Championship. Mr. Jones, what a weekend it was.
Indeed, this hotly contested three-class series has 6 events over 2 days here at Queensland Raceway. The drivers are facing a blisteringly hot and stormy weekend of racing.
Well, Queensland Raceway, of course, hosts the best motorsport in Australia and is the home of the V8 supercars here in Queensland as well. It's 6 corners, 4 gravel traps and speeds up to 260 kilometres an hour along the 650 metre back straight. She's a cracker, Jonesy. If you've missed the action last time round, here are some great highlights.
Phil Holzberger's weekend ended early after an oil leak put him out of contention during qualifying. This gave Alex Kenny the only Class A car at round 5 with an easy win over the field.
Max Casa also ran into bad luck during qualifying with rings on the number 2 piston just not bedding in, and that ended his weekend prematurely. But the battle of the weekend was between Class B and Class C was so intense that Don Miles, putting heat on the Class B cars every chance he got. But the heat finally caught up with him as the Hill Climb Special suffered a severe amount of damage on the last lap of race number 3 and caught fire, ending his weekend and retiring the car for the rest of the year. Chris Fing had a moment entering into the carousel and took Bruce Chamberlain with him, causing a race restart.
Simon Salento's first weekend was exceptional. The Class B car fought to catch Kenny throughout the weekend.
Neville Mackay and Stuart Patterson waged their war to cure the Class B points.
And Richard Croston dropped the transmission from his Malik and had to retire at the end of day 1.
This final round is the last chance for drivers to accumulate points, and with mechanical casualties claiming several entries throughout the year, the competing field aren't holding anything back for those last 2 days of racing. On a blistering hot first day racing, drivers battled the heat and worked on their spot for the grid. Jonesy, I tell you what, it was absolutely sensational.
Peter Hill lost the panel work off his bull ant on the exit of turn 2, creating an obstacle just off the racing line. Rodney Hope in his Speeds RM11 took 4th place with a 1 minute 19.59 on the clock.
There are only 300ths of a second between all of the Class A cars, but Dave Barham claimed a 1 minute 10.32, giving him pole position on the front row. That's right, a 1 minute 10.32.
Carl Johnson qualified 7th with a 1 minute 20.79, with Bruce Chamberlain and Matthew Vanderberg battling it out for 8th and 9th. Chamberlain took 8th by 100th of a second.
Weather was good. The weather prediction for the weekend was a bit scary, but it's been a nice day. A bit on the warm side, but that was all good. Track was interesting. The first session we did, the first half of qualifying, I went out, did a reasonable time, came in to check tyre pressures and wait for the quieter time towards the end of qualifying, and went back out and there's bits of car on the road and fluid down, and so yeah, that was. Thankfully I got to time the first session out. Second in qualifying, but it'll be really interesting. Myself and the 2 Chirons are within a few tenths of a second between the 3 of us. So it should be interesting dicing out there. Well, the trick is I get the jump, so I got a lot more horsepower than they've got. So I take advantage of my advantages and get ahead, and then I just got to try and block them for 6 laps. It's easy.
Not as good as we expected. We made some changes from last race meeting, which didn't really go to plan. It went a bit slower than we wanted, but we're here to try and get some points for the weekend to try and close out the championship. So that's the main aim. So far it's a good start. The car's still going well, so that's the main thing. And made some changes for race 1, and hopefully we can move forward and try and get a win or move forward at least anyway. So we came in to do some tyre changes, pressure changes rather. Went back out, got through turn 2, and there was this big piece of bodywork right in the middle of the track. I thought, oh God! but luckily we managed to miss that, and I wasn't right on the racing line. That's the main thing, and everyone managed to miss it, which is the main thing. So.
Well, race 1 was a cracker, Jonesy. Holzberger out front, just a little too quick for these guys, chasing him behind.
The battle for second position was quickly quite involved, as we see Barham here climbing all over the back of Alex Kenny, sneaking a look up the inside at turn 2 for the run down back straight.
Oh, look at the battle between these guys. You can see Kenny look in his mirrors, wondering about Barham and where he's going to come from. The very quick man from the Western Downs area, very, very quick along this long back straight.
We see here the moving up like a shark on the back of Kenny's car here. Dave Barham in that silver and orange Chiron, the British-built race car.
Look at the casual look over the shoulder as the flames belch from the back of that car, as Barham is starting to probe and look for a way past. Look at Kenny, very cautious of his mirrors here as Barham tries to find a way past. Clipping apexes nice and early here. Kenny is trying to maximise his exit speed, Jones. There is nothing that Barham can do about the exit speed of this car. The Chirons are very, very quick.
Indeed, the Alex Kenny's car has that bit more horsepower though, as we see lap cars coming into the picture here, weaving between Michael Trefine and Brian Padett's cars.
Look at the braking potential out of both of these cars down there. Hard on the brakes into turn number 4-5. Here as they exit 5 on the way down through to turn number 6. These guys are well and truly on the mark as they make their way towards the final few laps.
David Barham though was badly held up by those 2 lap cars. Kenny was able to negotiate them quickly, but it made the difference there. We look back at Class B and C battle here as we see Peter Hill in his new car heading down towards turn 6, and here is that clash between himself and Brian Padett, and that sent Hill off into the infield with Padett quickly back underway.
And Hill having to select 4-wheel drive mode in that car to get its way and make its way back to the pits. Well, not a nice run for those guys, not a nice run at all. Neville McKay had his sights set on Chamberlain early, but finally took that place up. Coming out of turn number 1, putting a gap between himself and the rest of the field, claiming 6th place.
Chamberlain successfully fought to keep Vandenberg from getting past, taking 7th. Croston snuck past Vandenberg to place 8th.
We'll be back very shortly. More racing coming your way from Queensland Raceway.
Regulator Systems, Australian success in an international market. To overcome the limitations of imported controls, Regulator Systems began designing and manufacturing their own range of control products, designed specifically for Australian conditions. While others have come and gone, Regulator Systems continues to design, manufacture and service control systems for the air conditioning industry, nationally and overseas. Regulator Systems, an Aussie success story in a highly competitive world market.
Storm clouds building, and that's not the only action that is happening at Queensland Raceways. Jonesy, the battle up front between the 3 Class A guys is going to be a cracker. And again will be Holzberger off the line that will get the whole shot, leading Kenny and Barham into turn number 1. But look at Barham starting to pressure Kenny nice and early.
Indeed, the silver and orange Chiron got through Kenny on the run down the back straight, but this was a battle that was going to continue for the
Kenny,
early running, and Kenny's got
huge amount of drive off turn number 3 there, Jonesy, down the inside, dives on the brakes and gets the job done on Barham into turn number 4. Barham really starting to push, sparks flying from underneath Barham's car as he rolls it across turn number 5.
The 2 Chirons continued to chase down Holzberger, and unfortunately there was a little bit of an issue here with the Black Radical, and that allowed Alex Kenny to sneak through into the lead.
Yeah, Alex Kenny did a great job. Look at the horsepower now of Holzberger as he fights back on the inside. Holzberger's car awfully quick in a straight line. That V8 Radical doing a job on the horsepower of the 2-litre cars. Oh, Jonesy, Roger's got a problem. The car's come to a mechanical problem and now pulls up.
As race leaders come past the stranded car here. Kenny's having a look on the inside of Holzberger. Gets through, and the Radical is pulling up at pretty much the same time here. So we've lost 2 cars in almost the same position on the same lap.
An elated Alex Kenny comes across the start-finish line to take the win. Look at this. The guys that are battling down the back, Stuart Patterson having a red-hot crack here.
A big battle here for the top of classes B and C. We see Chamberlain get up the inside of Carl Johnson's Radical as they swing down the Lake Straight. Johnson gets back.
Brakes.
Oh, very nice move there from Johnson.
Patterson has a casual look over his shoulder going, where did you come from?
Overcorrects on the exit of turn 5, but it was enough that Johnson was able to pull away from
Patterson to take that victory. Look at this, Jonesy, 2 stranded cars.
Yep.
Well, you know, I was trying to catch the guys in front with a 2-speed gearbox, and I was doing clever things with the clutch, which I shouldn't have been doing. And of course, now something in the driveline has decided enough. So that's the end of my day.
Is it the end of your weekend?
It depends how much I enjoy the motorcycles on TV tonight. I might pull out another car if I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But I think enthusiasm's hard to conjure up on a hot day like this.
Well, the weather playing a big part in Queensland Raceway's racing here this weekend, but it wasn't playing no part in this start, Jonesy.
A slightly messy start here with Alex Kenny pulling a quick jump here on Patterson as they swing down into the first turn.
Patterson looking good through turn number 1, but I tell you what, the battle behind them was where all the action rages. Here comes Holzberger as he's quickly dispatching the field, making his way towards the front.
Indeed. Holzberger, of course, not finishing the previous race, had to start from the rear and quickly disposed of the Class B and C cars and headed off after Alex Kenny. But in the end, couldn't get there, and there was 6.5 seconds between them at the line.
Well, Jonesy, the battle further back between Patterson and the rest of the field was a cracker as Patterson had to yield right here on the entrance into turn number 1.
Yeah, Bruce Chamberlain moving up into the lead of Class B, but had to give it up again to Patterson down the front straight. The Westfield not quite a match for the Minetti, although Chamberlain quickly back into the lead once more as they continued to trade places. We see here the Malik of Richard Croston climbing up into the tail of that battle as well, with Brian Pettit and also the car of Vandenberg at the back of the group.
Look at this battle here again. They started to probe each other, trying to find a way past. But I cannot believe the speed out of these guys. Absolutely scorching pace, Jonesy.
The Malik of Richard Croston coming into the fight here, and Croston jumps up the inside of Chamberlain. And here comes Vandenberg now in the second of the Minettis, the older of the 2 Minettis in the field. Vandenberg lining up Richard Croston's Malik down the back straight. And the Minetti is able to get through, and once more he starts lining up the newer Minetti of Patterson.
Minetti twins going at it here. They'll be on each other very, very quickly. Let's have a look at the run he got out of turn number 3. Now pulls up along Patterson beside him and now finds a way past.
The older model Minetti, a slimmer car, less of an aerodynamic profile. Was able to take advantage of that, and Vandenberg was able to clear away from Patterson.
Patterson didn't seem to have an answer for this more seasoned Minetti, and a car that's had a few more laps on it. But I tell you what, a great result for the Minettis. They run 1-2 with each other, and the twins are doing a great job here of putting on the show. Look at Patterson not giving in here at all, having a red-hot crack coming down to the braking mark. Overcooks it a bit there. And here they go, the run to the checker, Jonesy. This will be a cracker.
Well, from there, Vandenberg was completely upset on entry into turn 6, hurting his straight line speed out of the final turn, and Patterson was able to beat Vandenberg to the line.
The battle here, but look at Michael Treffine too, Jonesy. These pair were pitted against each other all weekend, and I tell you what, you cannot take it away from Rogie. Him and the Formula Ford put on a great show all weekend, side-by-side action everywhere.
The JMW of Rogie there swings around the outside of Treffine.
Two different cars, two total different handling packages, one with a massive amount of aero and one with a little bit more low-end torque. But I tell you what, Michael Treffine, he was going to do it, only 0.2 of a second between them all weekend.
We'll be back after this break with more of the 2015 Queensland Sportscar Championship.
Regulator Systems, Australian success in an international market. To overcome the limitations of imported controls, Regulator Systems began designing and manufacturing their own range of control products, designed specifically for Australian conditions. While others have come and gone, Regulator Systems continues to design, manufacture and service control systems for the air conditioning industry, nationally and overseas. Regulator Systems, an Aussie success story in a highly competitive world market.
Another good start here, Jonesy, and I tell you what, you cannot take that away from Holzberger. So quick out of the hole.
Alex Kenny tried as hard as he could to hold on to the V8 Radical early in the race. The Chiron looking smoother through the high-speed turns 1 and 2, and that allowed Kenny to close right in on the Holzberger's tail under brakes into turn 3.
Yeah, there's a real finesse about the Chiron. There seems to be a little bit more poise in that car through the corners, but you can't take away from the raw speed of that car. Holzberger, look at it drive away into the distance.
Yeah, there's that V8 Radical just powers away in a straight line. The aerodynamics, though, of the British-built Chiron, well, both cars are British-built.
Have a look at Kenny's wheel work. He is working this car so hard, trying to gain every little advantage he can. Look at the flames belcher from the back. He's having a red-hot crack at the back of this car, Holzberger. He is never going to give in, not for one moment.
Coming through the Snake Gully area of turns 4 and 5. Kenny continuing to close on Holzberger, but continually frustrated by the Radical's ability to pull away in a straight line under power. Pinned here behind Brian Pettit's Westfield.
Yeah, Pettit nearly causing a drama then for both the guys, but Pettit quickly will go, look at this, a late break from Kenny here, gets back down the inside as well. Oh, a bit of contact then, you can see Kenny's car. As they come together, Kenny took evasive action up on the curb trying to get out of the way, but there was nowhere in the world who's going to match that straight line speed. Look at this from a start further back, Jonesy, and I'll tell you what, this car at Croston's, I still believe that this guy will get a handle on this car very quickly and he will...
Oh no, he's broken the diff.
Oh, he was plagued with mechanical problems all weekend, and when he gets a handle on this car, he will be a force to be reckoned with. Side by side again down at turn number 3, and look at that, Vandenberg again, Jonesy, confident under brakes down on that part of the racetrack. Wasn't much that Patterson can do about it. Look at Patterson back on the gas now, probing up the outside, but it will be the inside line from Vandenberg that will give him the advantage into turn number 4. Oh, moves across too early. What's Patterson going to do? He's going to dive back down the inside. Oh, he does. Open door policy right there.
Vandenberg very polite there in allowing Patterson past. He's just overshot the corner. But back here on the back straight, Vandenberg closes in. The slimmer aerodynamic profile of Vandenberg's older car, able to take advantage of the toe and climbing right up onto Patterson's tail and gets him under brakes into turn 4.
Another great move again. Patterson yielded early, trying to gain some momentum to be a little bit faster out of the corner, but unfortunately he's left himself a bit of a gap to try and leapfrog as they make their way down the back again. Here they are again, Jonesy. Look at Patterson hiding behind the back of the car, pulls out of the slipstream now, hard on the brakes and dives down the inside. Great move, Stu Patterson.
That was a very deep move under brakes, confident in the braking potential of his Manetti, and Patterson was able to reclaim the lead, but Vandenberg is not done with it yet. You wouldn't know that it was his first weekend in the class.
He's doing a great job here as they make their way down into turn number 6 for the final time, Jonesy. And I tell you what, these pair put on a great battle all weekend. What a cracker event. And I tell you what, Stewie Patterson took home the Manetti victory. Thunderous skies and a deluge of rain unfortunately put pay to race number 5 for the category over the weekend. And it looked pretty miserable, but none of them were miserable at all sitting down in the pits. They've had a great weekend, Jonesy.
Of the Class C competitors, Brian Pettit takes first place with 440 points overall for 2015. In second place was Peter Hill on 354 points, and third, Don Miles with 282.
Class B was hotly contested this year, and in third place, Neville McKay with 318 points. It was second place with Bruce Chamberlain with 336, and first place was Stewie Patterson on 390 points for year 2015.
Class A was cleaned up by Alex Kenny on a whopping 508 points. In second place, Phil Holzberger on 336, and in third, Josh Townsend on 80.
Kenny receives the coveted Kevin Bartlett Perpetual Trophy as the overall winner with the most points for 2015. At the end of the weekend, we went from extreme weather to intense racing. The Queensland Sportscar Championship was over for 2015. An excellent year of racing, engineering and talent by all concerned, but the summer months will give drivers and teams a chance to rebuild and refine ahead of next year's series, which is promising to be even bigger and better than this year.
Follow news and announcements on the Queensland Clubman and Sportscar Association website, home of everything you need to get involved or join in the experience. A big thank you to Regulator Systems, Queensland Raceways, and of course, all of the teams and drivers.
Racing kicks off once again in April 2016, and we look forward to seeing you there.